Jai Swaminarayan to all. Today for standard 11 science. In physics we are going to continue our chapter 3 which was motion in straight line. The topics that we are going to cover are: first one is acceleration, second one is kinematic equations for uniformly accelerated motion, and third one is relative velocity. Starting with our first topic, which is acceleration. The velocity of an object in general changes during its source or course of motion. Means we all know that when an object is in motion, its velocity changes. But how to describe this change? Should it be described at the rate of change in velocity with distance or time? This question was a problem even in Galileo's time, and he started studying. It was his first thought that this change could be described by rate of change of velocity with distance and not by time. But through his further studies of motion of freely falling of object and the motion of object on an inclined plane, Galileo concluded that the rate of change of velocity is with time and is constant of motion for all objects in free fall. Means by further studying, Galileo concluded that the the rate of change in velocity can be taken with time, because if we take it with time, then the motion will be constant for all the objects in free fall. But if we take the change in rate of velocity by distance, then it will not constant and it decreases with increasing distance of fall. So this led to the concept of acceleration by taking the rate of change of velocity with time, not by distance. The average acceleration A over a time interval is defined as change in velocity divided by the time interval. As you can see our equation for, it is the formula or equation for calculating the acceleration, which is A is equals to V2 minus V1, which is the change in velocity. V2 is ending and V1 is starting. So change in velocity V2 minus V1 divided by time interval t2 minus t1. So the formula for acceleration A will be equals to delta V, which is the change in velocity, divided by delta t, which is our time interval. As I said, here V2 and V1 are instantaneous velocity or simply velocities at time t2 and t1. It is the average change of velocity per unit time, and the SI unit of acceleration is meter second inverse. On a plot of velocity versus time, the average acceleration is slope of straight line connecting the points corresponding to velocity v2 comma time interval t2 and velocity v1 comma time interval t1. Means the plot of velocity versus time gives the slope of straight line that connects the corresponding points v2 with t2 and v1 at t1. Now, the average acceleration of velocity time graph, which is shown in figure 3.7, that is displayed here for different time intervals, which are first is 0 seconds to 10 seconds, another is 10 seconds to 18 seconds, and another is 18 seconds to 20 seconds, are calculated as follows. Means to calculate the acceleration for these time intervals, it is calculated here. First is for 0 seconds to 10 seconds. So in case of 0 seconds to 10 seconds, the 10 seconds is the value of t2 and 0 seconds is value of t1. And in order to know what is the value of velocities, look at the graph. At 10 seconds you will see that the value of velocity v2 is 24, and at 0 seconds the value of velocity v1 is 0. Means, as in I discussed in previous point, that you have to plot 2 points, v2 at t2 and v1 at t1. So the value of v2 at time t2 means the value at time 10 second is 24, and the value of v1 at t1 means at 0 seconds the value of v1 is also 0. So we get the value of our velocity 2 and velocity 1 by marking in this way. So for 0 to 10 seconds, the value of acceleration will be 2.4 meter per second. For 10 to 18 seconds, another you have to look at the graph and find out the value of velocity at that time seconds, and then you will get that at 18 seconds also, the value of our v2 will be 24, as it is a straight line up till 18 seconds. So the value of v2 is 24 and value of v1 at 10 seconds, which we have already seen, is also 24. So it will be 24 minus 24 divided by 18 seconds minus 10 seconds. So the value of acceleration at 10 seconds to 18 seconds is 0 meter per second. And for 18 seconds to 20 seconds, the value of acceleration will be minus 12 meter per second, because the value of our velocity v2 is 0 at 20 seconds. So this is how the acceleration is calculated for different time intervals by seeing the graph 3.7. Let us see how instantaneous acceleration is defined. So instantaneous acceleration is defined in the same way as instantaneous velocity. You can see the equation 3.5 where we have defined or given the formula for instantaneous acceleration, which is a is equals to limit of time interval t tending to 0, delta v, which is our change in velocity, divided by delta t, which is our time interval, which will equals to dv by dt. Here we have taken the derivation dv divided by dt. So this is the formula for our instantaneous acceleration. Now the acceleration at an instant is the slope of tangent to the v to t curve at that instant. For the v to t curve that is shown in figure 3.7, we can obtain acceleration at every instant of time. The resulting a to t curve is shown in figure 3.a. We can see that the acceleration is non-uniform during the time interval 0 seconds to 10 seconds, means that from 0 to 10 seconds the velocity is changing of our object. So it is a non-uniform during the time period 0 seconds to 10 seconds. Now after 10 seconds up till 18 seconds, means from 10 seconds to 0 seconds, the acceleration is 0, because our object is at rest between 10 seconds to 18 seconds. After 18 seconds up till 20 seconds, it is changing its velocity again, means it comes in motion, and it has a value of minus 12 meter per second between 18 seconds to 20 seconds. Now when the acceleration is uniform, obviously it is equal to the average acceleration over that period. As you all know that velocity is a quantity having both magnitude and direction. So a change in velocity may involve either or both of these factors. Acceleration therefore may result from a change in speed, which is magnitude, a change in direction, or change in both, means the acceleration may result in the change of speed or in the change of direction, or combination of both of this, means change in both magnitude and direction. Like velocity, acceleration can also be positive or negative, or it can be zero. Position time graphs for motion with positive, negative and zero acceleration are shown in figure 3.9a, b and c respectively. You can see in figure 3.9a the graph is for positive acceleration, 3.9b which is for negative acceleration, and 3.9c which is for zero acceleration. Although acceleration can vary with time, our study in this chapter will be restricted to motion with constant acceleration. Means we will restrict our study to motion with constant acceleration for this chapter. In this case, the average acceleration will be equals the constant value of acceleration during the time interval. If velocity of an object is v0 at time t is equals to 0 and v at time t is equals to t, then we have value of acceleration is equals to v minus v0, means value of velocity v at time t minus value of velocity v0 at time interval t equals to 0 seconds divided by t minus 0, or we can say that v will be equals to v0 plus at, means how can we get the value of v is equals to v0 plus at? So we have the in formula given here, a is equals to v minus v0. Now if we take the v to left hand side and take our a to the right hand side, then the a will go in multiplication with t, or let me simplify that, let me make it simple here. take v at one side. Now as the t is in division, it will go in the multiplication with a. Okay, as the t is in division, the t will go with multiplication with a when we move the t at left hand side, so we get 80. Now at another side, which is right hand side, we have v minus v0. So now we have 80 is equals to v minus v0. Now if we take v0 to left hand side, then it will become positive. So we will have 80 plus v0 is equals to v. So in this way we get the formula that v is equals to v0 plus 80, which will be our equation 3.6. Let us see how velocity time graph look like for some simple cases. For simple 4 cases, see figure 3.10. It shows the velocity time graph for the motion with constant acceleration for different cases. Case A is that an object is moving in positive direction, means object is going in forward direction with a positive acceleration. For example, see the motion of car in figure 3.3 between 0 seconds to 10 seconds. The car is going in positive direction and it has a positive acceleration. Now we will come to case B. In case B, the object is in positive direction but its acceleration is negative. For example, the motion of car in figure 3.3 between 18 to 20 seconds, it is that the car is in negative it is that the car is going in positive direction but it has a negative acceleration. Now case C is an object is moving in negative direction with negative acceleration, means assuming that our car, which is our object, is running in backward direction, it is running backward with a negative acceleration. That is our case C. And our case D is that at some point an object is moving in positive direction till a time t1 and then it turned back with same negative acceleration. So it is saying that our car is initially going in forward direction up till a time t1, but after that time the car suddenly turns back and start traveling in backward direction. So these are the 4 cases and the graph for these 4 cases are drawn in figure 3.10 a, b, c and d. For all the different cases there are different graph you can see. Now, an interesting feature of a velocity time graph for any moving object is that the area under the curve represents the displacement over given time interval. A general proof of the statement that I have said, the statement was that the feature of velocity time graph for any moving object is the area under the curve represents the displacement over a given time interval. Means a general proof of this statement requires the use of calculus. We can however see that it is true for simple case of an object moving with constant velocity, say u. Its velocity time graph is shown in figure 3.11 as you can see. The v to t curve is a straight line that is parallel to the time axis and the area under it between t is equals to 0 and t is equals to t second is the area of rectangle of height u and the base t. Therefore, the area is equals to u into t or say ut, which is the displacement in this time interval. How come in this case an area is equal to a distance? Think about it. Note that the dimension of quantities on the two coordinate axes and you will arrive at the answer. Means to get the answer of the question that how come in this case an area is equal to distance, the answer to this is the dimension of quantities on the two coordinate axes and you will come to know the answer about that. Take another note that the x2t and v2t and the a2t graphs shown in several figures previously in this chapter have sharp kinks at some points, implying that the function are not differentiable at these points. In any realistic situations, the function will be differentiable at all the points and the graph will be smooth. Now, what this means physically is that acceleration and velocity cannot change the value abruptly at an instant. Changes are always continuous. So up till now we discussed about the first topic, which was acceleration. Now we will move to our next topic, which is kinematic equation for uniformly accelerated motion. For uniformly accelerated motion, we can derive some simple equations that can relate to the displacement x, the time taken t, initial velocity v0, final velocity v, and the acceleration a. Equation 3.6, which is already obtained previously, gives a relation between final and initial velocities v and v0 of an object moving with uniform acceleration a. Look at the equation 3.6, which is v is equals to v0 plus at, where v is the final velocity, v0 is initial velocity, a is the acceleration, and t is the time taken. This relation is graphically represented in figure 3.12. The area under this curve is area between instants 0 and t, which is equals to area of triangle ABC plus area of rectangle OACD. You can see that triangle and the rectangle in the figure, and that is equals to 1 by 2 multiplied by, in brackets, v minus v0 means final velocity minus initial velocity, outside the bracket it is multiplied by t, plus v0t, where the t is the time taken and v0 is our initial velocity. As explained in the previous section, the area under the v2t curve represents the displacement, and therefore the displacement x of the object is x is equals to 1 by 2 multiplied by v minus v0 multiplied by t plus v0t, which is our equation 3.7. But v minus v0 is equals to at, means according to our equation 3.6, if we take the v0 from our right hand side to left hand side, we will get the equation v minus v0 plus at. So here we have the value v minus v0 is equals to 80. Therefore, we will substitute that value in equation 3.7, and our 3.7 will be as x is equals to 1 by 2 multiplied by a into t square, because there is already a t in multiplication of v minus v0 and another is for at. So 1 by 2 multiplied by at square plus v0 multiplied by t, or we can say x is equals to v0t plus 1 by 2 at square. That is our equation 3.8. Equation 3.7 can also be written as x is equals to v plus v0 divided by t multiplied by t is equals to v t, means v bar t, which is our equation 3.9a, where v bar is equals to v plus v0 divided by 2, means in equation 3.9a we have taken the x is equals to v plus v0 divided by 2 multiplied by t, and the value of v plus v0 divided by t, for that we have taken a variable v bar, and we'll get the equation as x is equals to v bar t, which is equation 3.9a, where we have substitute v bar is equals to v plus v0 divided by 2, which is a constant acceleration only. That is our equation 3.9b. Now equation 3.9a and 3.9b means that the object has undergone displacement x with a average velocity that is equal to the arithmetic average of initial and the final velocities. From equation 3.6, the value of t is equals to v minus v0 divided by a. How can we get these values? Look at the equation 3.6 here. If we take the v0 from right hand side to left hand side, we will get v minus v0 equals to at. Now, as a is in multiplication of t, if we take a from right hand side to left hand side, it will go in division and we will get v minus v0 divided by a. And this is how we find the value of t is equals to v minus v0 divided by a. Now substituting this in equation 3.9, we get the value of t, means substituting value of t in this way in the equation 3.9, we will get x is equals to v bar t. We have taken v bar as v plus v0 by 2. So v bar t will be equals to v plus v0 divided by 2, and substituting the value of t, which is v minus v0 divided by a. So here we have v plus v0 by 2 and v minus v0 divided by a. So v plus v0 multiplied by v minus v0 will be v square minus v0 square. So we will get the value of x is equals to v square minus v0 square divided by 2a, and we can also get that v square is equals to v0 square plus 2ax. In order to get, do one thing, as we get the value of x is equals to v square minus v0 square divided by 2a, if we take v square minus v0 on the left hand side, then it will if we take x in the right hand side, it will go in multiplication with 2a. Okay, and if we take v square minus v0 square on left hand side, we will get v square minus v0 square is equals to 2a. Now as v0 square is in minus, if we take v0 square on right hand side, then we will get v0 square plus 2ax, and this way we will get the value v square is equals to v0 square plus 2ax, which is our equation 3.10. Now this equation can also be obtained by substituting the value of t from equation 3.6 into equation 3.8, and thus we have obtained three important equations, which is v is equals to v0 plus at, x is equals to v0t plus 1 by 2 at square, and the last one is v square is equals to v0 square plus 2ax, which is our equation 3.11a. Now connecting five quantities v0, v, a, t and x, means v0 which is our initial velocity, v is our final velocity, a is acceleration, t is time taken, and x is displacement. These are the kinetic equations of rectilinear motion for constant acceleration. The set of equation 3.11a, which we seen previously, were obtained by assuming that at t is equals to 0, the position of particle x is 0. We can obtain a more general equation if we take the position coordinate at t is equals to 0 as non-zero, say x0, then equations in 3.11a are modified and replacing x by x minus x0 2. V is equals to v0 plus at. Now we have x is equals to x0 plus v0t plus 1 by 2 at square as equation 3.11b, and v square is equals to v0 square plus 2a into x minus x0. Here we substituted the value of x as x minus x0 and we get equation 3.11c. Means first we have v is equals to v0 plus at, that we already have. Now we have taken the equation 3.11a and substituted the value of x as x minus x0. So we will get x is equals to x0 plus v0t plus 1 by 2 at square as our equation 3.11b, and we will get another equation as v square is equals to v0 square plus 2a x minus x0. Means the three equations that we get in the equation 3.11a, we in all that equations we substitute the value of x by x minus x0 and we get all other equations, which is 3.11b and 3.11c. Now we will solve some examples. So looking at the example first, which is example 3.3, which is obtain equations of motion for constant acceleration using method of calculus. So first look at the box A. We'll start our solution from box A and then we will go to box B, continuing our solution. So first look at a box A. Answer is, by the definition we have the value of A is equals to dv by dt, and if we take dt on the left hand side, so it will go in multiplication with a and we will have the value as a dt is equals to dv, or we can say dv is equals to a multiplied dt. Now we will integrate on both the side. Integrating on both the side, on left side we will integrate from v0 to v, dv is equals to integration of a dt for limit 0 to t, which is equals to, means a is our constant, so a will come out of the integration and we will integrate from 0 to t limit the dt as a is constant, and we know that the value will give us as dt. For dt the answer will be t for when you derivate dt by putting value of 0 and t, means our limit is 0 to t. By putting those both value one by one, we will get the answer at, and integrating dv we get v minus v0 is equals to at, and when we take the v0 on right hand side, we will get the value as v is equals to v0 plus at. So this was our integration. Now further we'll do what, that we'll take v is equals to dx by dt, and then when we take dt on the left hand side, we will get the value dx is equals to v dt. Now we also integrate this equation also. So integrating these equations from limit x0 to x for dx and limit 0 to t for v dt, we will get that integration of limit 0 to t, and integrating v, we will get v0 plus at as the value of v we already know is v0 plus at, so we will put that value, and then the integration of left side, which was integration for limit x0 to x dx, will be x minus x0, and on the right hand side the integration of v0 plus at dt will be v0 t plus 1 by 2 at square, and hence we will, and when we take the minus x0 from left hand side to right hand side, we will get the value x is equals to x0 plus v0 t plus 1 by 2 at square, and we can write that a is equals to dv by dt, which is equals to dv by dx multiplied dx by dt, and it is equals to v dv divided by dx, or we can say that v dv is equals to a dx, means when we take the dx on left hand side, we will get the value as v dv is equals to a dx. Now we will again integrate on the both sides. We will integrate on left side as limit v0 to v integrating v dv equals to on right hand side integrating a dx with limit x0 to x, and integrating left side we will get v square minus v0 square divided by 2, and integrating right side we will get a multiplied by x minus x0, and hence we will get value as, when we take the 2 of 2 which is in division of left hand side, when we take on right hand side it will go in multiplication and we'll get 2a into x minus x0, and when we take the minus v0 square from left side to right side, we will get v square is equals to v0 square plus 2a multiply x minus x0. So this is our answer. We have obtained the equation for motion for constant acceleration using the method of calculus. The advantage of using this method is that it can be used for motion with non-uniform acceleration also. Now we will look at our another example, which is example 3.4. According to the example, a ball is thrown vertically in upward direction with a velocity of 20 meter per second from the top or terrace of a multi-storied building. The height of the point from where the ball is thrown is 25 meter from the ground. We have to find the answer for two cases. First is case A, which is how high will the ball rise, and second is case B, which is how long will it be before the ball hits the ground. And we have to take the value of g is equals to 10 meter per second. So first we will solve case A. In case A, let us take the y-axis in vertical upward direction with 0 at the ground as shown in figure 3.13. Now the value of v0, which is our velocity, which is already given in the question, is 20 meter per second. Initial velocity 20 meter per second. The value of acceleration is equals to minus g, which is equals to minus 10 meter per second, and the value of final velocity v, which is at initially 0 meter per second. Now if ball rises to the height y from the point of launch, means from where we have thrown the ball, then using the equation v square is equals to v0 square plus 2a multiplied by y minus y0, we will get the value of v square, which is 0 square is 0, equals to v0 square, which is 20 square, plus 2 multiplied value of acceleration a, which is minus 10, multiplied by y minus y0. And solving this equation, we will get the value of y minus y0 is equals to 20 meter. Now for case B, we have to find that how long will it be before the ball hits the ground. So for case B, we can solve this part of problem in two ways. Note carefully the methods. We will look at the first method. In the first method, we split the path in two parts, the upward motion A to B and the downward motion B to C, and the calculate corresponding time taken T1 and T2. Since the velocity at B is 0, we have V is equals to V0 plus AT. The value of our V is already, we know that it is 0, and the value of our initial velocity V0 is 20, and the value of our acceleration is minus 10 multiplied by T1 time taken, or we can say T1 is equals to 2s. Now this is the time in going from A to B. From B or the point of maximum height, the ball falls freely under the acceleration due to gravity. Means when ball goes upward up till some height, it will fall down due to the gravity. The ball is moving in negative y direction. We use equation y is equals to y0 plus v0t plus 1 by 2 at square. We have y is equals to 45 meter we have y0 is equals to 45 meter, y is equals to 0, v0 is also 0, a is equals to minus g, which is equals to minus 10 meter per second, and uh, so there we will get 0 is equals to 45 plus 1 by 2 into minus 10 t2 square. Therefore, the total time taken by the ball before it hits ground is equals to t1 plus t2 equals to 2 seconds plus 3 seconds equals to 5 seconds. Means the equation that we have taken as 0 is equals to 45 plus 1 by 2 minus 10 t square is, we have equation y is equals to y0 plus v0 t plus 1 by 2 at square. So we substituted the values of y0, yv in this equation, and we will get this equation as 0 is equals to 45 plus 1 by 2 multiply minus 10 t2 square, and therefore the total time that is taken by the ball before it hits the ground is equals to t1 plus t2, which will equal to 2 seconds plus 3 seconds, which is equals to 5 seconds. We have seen the first method of case B of our example 3.4. Now we will see the second method. According to the second method, the total time taken can also be calculated by noting the coordinates of initial and final positions of the ball with respect to the origin that is chosen, and using the equation y is equals to y0 plus v0 t plus 1 by 2 at square. Now the value of y0 is 25 meter, y is equals to 0, v0 is equals to 20, a is equals to minus 10, and t we have to find. So by substituting all this value in the equation y is equals to y0 plus v0 t plus 1 by 2 at square, we will get 0 is equals to 25 plus 20t plus 1 by 2 multiplied by minus 10 multiplied by t square, or we can say 5t square minus 20t is minus 25 is equals to 0. And solving this quadratic equation for t, we can get t is equals to 5 seconds. Note that the second method is better since we do not have to worry about the path of the motion, as the motion is under constant acceleration. Now we will move towards our next example, which is example 3.5. According to the example, we have to discuss the motion of an object under free fall, neglecting the air resistance. So let us look at the answer. According to the answer, an object released near the surface of earth is accelerated downward under the influence of force of gravity. Means when we release an object, it will go downward because of the gravity. The magnitude of acceleration due to gravity is represented by g. If air resistance is neglected, then the object is said to be in free fall. If height through which the object falls is small compared to the earth radius, then g can be taken to be as constant, which is equals to 9.8 meter per second. Free fall is thus a case of motion with uniform acceleration. We assume that the motion is in y direction, more correctly in minus y direction, as it is falling downwards. Minus y direction, because we choose upward direction as positive and downward as negative. Since the acceleration due to gravity is always downward, it is in negative direction, and we have a is equals to minus g, which is equals to minus 9.8 meter per second. The object that is released from rest at y is equals to 0. Therefore, the value of v0 is also 0, and the equation of motions become v is equals to 0 minus gt is which is equals to minus 9.8 t meter per second. Y is equals to 0 minus 1 by 2 gt square, which is equals to minus 4.9 t square m meter, and v square is equals to 0 minus 2 gy, which is equals to minus 19.6 y meter square second meter per second. Means here we have taken the value g instead of a in all the equation, as a is equals to minus g. This equation gives the velocity and the distance traveled as a function of time, and also the variation of velocity with distance. The variation of acceleration, velocity and distance with time has been plotted in figure 3.14a, b and c, as you can see. Now we will move to our next example, which is example 3.6. According to that, it is given the Galileo's law of odd numbers. The distance traversed during equal intervals of time by a body falling from the rest stand to one another in same ratio as the odd number beginning with unity, namely 1 ratio, 3 ratio, 5 ratio, 7 ratio up to infinity of odd numbers. We have to prove it. So let us see the answer. Let us divide the time interval of motion of an object under the free fall into many equal intervals, say t, and find out the distance traversed during the successive intervals of time. Since initial velocity is 0, we have y is equals to minus 1 by 2 gt square. Using this equation, we can calculate the position of object after different time intervals, say 0, t, 2t, 3t and up to infinite, which are given in second column of table 3.2. You can see the table 3.2, it has the first column for time interval t up to from 0 to 6t, and in second column we have calculated the value of y as given from the equation. We have calculated the value. For 0 it is 0, for t it is 1 by 2 gt square, means we have simply substituted the value of time interval at the equation and we get the value of our second column, which is y. If we take minus 1 by 2 g t square, here t square is the t that we have taken for equal time interval, so minus 1 by 2 g t square. If we take this as y0, then the position coordinate after the first time interval t, then the third column gives the position in the unit of y0, means you can see that we have taken y0, y in terms of y0, which is equals to 1 by g t square, where the value of t square is where the t is the t that is taken for equal time interval. So we have taken y in terms of y0 and we have given equation minus 1 by 2 gt square to y0, and by putting the values and solving the equation, we will get the values of column number 3, which is y in terms of y0. Now the fourth column gives the distance traversed in successive t seconds. So fourth column is distance traversed in successive intervals. Now we find that the distance are in simple ratio of 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 and so on, as shown in the last column. The last column we have seen the ratio of distance traversed. This law was established by Galileo Galilei in 1564 to 1642, who was the first to make quantitative studies of free fall. Now we will move to our next example, which is example 3.7, stopping the distance of vehicles, means stopping distance of vehicles. When brakes are applied to a moving vehicle, the distance it travels before stopping is called stopping distance. It is an important factor for road safety and depends on the initial velocity v0 and the braking capacity or deceleration minus a that is caused by braking. Derive an expression for stopping distance of a vehicle in terms of v0 and a. So looking to our answer, let the distance travelled by the vehicle before it stops be ds. Then using the equation of motion, which is v square minus v0 square plus 2ax, and noting that v is equals to 0, we have stopping distance as ds is equals to minus v0 square divided by 2a. Thus, the stopping distance is proportional to the square of initial velocity. Doubling the initial velocity, increasing the stopping distance by a factor of 4 for the same deceleration. For car of particular make, the braking distance was found to be 10 meter, 20 meter, 34 meter and 50 meter, corresponding to the velocities 11, 15, 20 and 25 meter per second, which are nearly consistent with above formula. Stopping distance is an important factor considered in setting speed limits, for example in school zones. Now we will move to our next example, which is example 3.8, reaction time. According to the question, when a situation demands our immediate action, it takes some time before we really respond. Reaction time is the time a person takes to observe, think and then act. For example, if person is driving and suddenly a boy appears on the road, then the time elapsed before he slams the brake of the car is reaction time. Reaction time depends on complexity of the situation and on an individual. You can measure your reaction time by simple experiment. According to the experiment, take a ruler and ask your friend to drop it vertically through the gap between your thumb and the forefinger as shown in figure 3.15. Now, after you catch it, find the distance d traveled by the ruler. In a particular case, d was found to be 21 centimeter. Estimate reaction time. So let's look at the answer. The ruler drops under the free fall. Therefore, v0, which is our initial velocity, is equals to 0 and a is equals to minus g is equals to minus 9.8 meter per second. The distance traveled d and the reaction time tr are related by d is equals to minus 1 by 2 gt square, or we can say that the reaction time tr is equals to under root 2 times d by g into s. Given d is equals to 21 centimeter and g is equals to minus 9.8 meter per second, we substitute this value in our equation of tr. We will get tr is equals to under root 2 multiplied by 0.21 divided by 9.8 second, which is equivalent to 0.2 seconds. So this is our answer. So this was our topic, kinematic equation for uniformly accelerated motion. Now we will move towards our next topic, which is relative velocity. You must be familiar with experience of traveling in a train and being overtaken by another train moving in same direction as you are. Means you all must have traveled from a train, and it is also possible that your train has been overtaken by another train that is moving in the same direction as you are. While that train must be traveling faster than you to be able to pass you, it doesn't seem slower to you than it would be to someone standing on the ground and watching both the trains. In case both the trains has same velocity with respect to the ground, then to you the other train would seem to be not moving at all. To understand such observation, we now introduce the concept of relative velocity. For that, consider two objects, object A and object B, which is moving uniformly with average velocities, say VA and VB. VA for average velocity of object A and VB for average velocity of object B in one dimension, say along x-axis. If xa of 0 and xb of 0 are positions of the object A and B respectively at time t is equals to 0, then their position of xa at t and xa at xb at t at time t are given by the equation given here, which is xa of t is equals to xa of 0 plus velocity of train A, means average velocity of object A multiplied by t, which is our equation 3.12a, and xb of t is equals to xb of 0 plus average velocity of object B multiplied by t, which is our equation 3.12b. Then the displacement for object A to object B is given by x of BA of t, means xBA of t is equals to xB of t minus xa of t, which is equals to xb of 0 minus a multiplied by xb of 0 minus xa of 0. We have substituted the value of xb of t and xa of t from equation 3.12a and 3.12b in this equation, and we get xb0 minus xa0 plus vb minus va multiplied by t, and we get our equation 3.13. Equation 3.13 is easily interpreted. It tells us that as seen from object A, object B has a velocity v of B minus v of A because the displacement from A to B changes steadily by amount Vb minus Va in each unit of time. We say that the velocity of object B relative to the object A is Vb minus Va, means velocity, average velocity of object B minus average velocity of object A, which is given from equation 3.14a, which is velocity of object BA is equals to velocity of object B minus velocity of object A, which is our equation 3.14a. Similarly, velocity of object A relative to object B is velocity AB is equals to velocity of object A minus velocity of object B, which is our equation 3.14b. You can also see the figure 3.16. It shows that velocity of BA is equals to minus velocity of AB, which is our equation 3.14c. Now we will consider some special cases. First is case A. In that, if velocity of object B is equals to velocity of object A, comma, velocity of B minus velocity of A is equals to 0, then from the equation 3.13, xb of t minus xa of t is equals to xb of 0 minus xa of 0. Therefore, the two objects stays at constant distance xb of 0 minus xa of 0. Apart from that, and their position time graph are straight lines that is parallel to each other. As you can see in figure 3.16, both the A and B lines are parallel to each other. The relative velocity of AB or the relative velocity of V of AB or V of BA is 0 in this case, as they are constant and parallel to each other. Now we will see another case, case B. If velocity of object A is greater than velocity of object B, then velocity of B minus velocity of A is negative. One graph is steeper than the other and they meet at a common point. Means if we take this case, then our lines of point A and B will intersection at a common point. For example, suppose velocity of A is 20 meter per second and x of A of 0 is equals to 10 meter, and velocity of B is 10 meter per second and x of B of 0 is equals to 40 meter. Then the time at which they meet is t is equals to 3 seconds, as you can see in figure 3.17. At this instant, they are both at a position xa of t is equals to xb of t, means when they meet at a point, means when they intersect each other at that point, x of a of t is equals to xb of t will be equals to 70 meter. Means they meet at 70 meter. Thus the object A overtakes object B at this time, means after this intersection object A will overtake the object B, and in this case velocity of BA will be equals to 10 meter per second minus 20 meter per second, which is minus 10 meter per second, which is equals to minus velocity of AB. Now we will come to our next case, which is case C. Suppose that velocity of A and velocity of B are of opposite signs. For example, if in the example we seen object A is moving with 20 meter per second, means in case B we have seen that object A is moving with 20 meter per second starting at x of A of 0 is equals to 10 meter, and object B is moving with minus 10 meter per second starting xb of 0 is equals to 40 meter. Then these two objects meet at t is equals to 1 second, as seen in figure 3.18. The velocity of B relative to A, velocity of BA is equals to minus 10 minus 20, which is equals to minus 30 meter per second, and it is equals to minus velocity of AB. In this case, the magnitude of velocity BA or velocity AB will be equals to 30 meter per second. The magnitude will be same for both velocities, velocity of B and velocity of AB is greater than the magnitude of velocity of A, means this magnitude, which is 30 meter per second, is greater than the magnitude of velocity of A or that of B. And if the object under the consideration are two trains, then for person sitting on either of the two trains, the other train seems to go very fast. Now we will see an example, our example 3.8. According to the example, two parallel rail tracks run north-south. Train A moves north with a speed of 54 km per hour and train B moves towards south with a speed of 90 km per hour. What is first? A, the velocity of B with respect to A, then B, the velocity of ground with respect to B, C, the velocity of a monkey running on the roof of the train A against its motion, with a velocity of 18 km per hour with respect to train A as observed by a man standing on the ground. So let's look at the answer. First, choose the positive direction of x-axis to be from south to north. Then the velocity of A, which is equals to 54 km per hour, is equals to 15 meter per second. And velocity of B, which is equals to minus 90 km per hour, is equals to minus 25 meter per second. Now, the relative velocity of B with respect to A is V of B, means velocity of B minus velocity of A, which is equals to minus 40 meter per second. That is, the train B appears to A to move with a speed of 40 meter per second from north to south. Relative velocity of ground with respect to B is equals to 0 minus velocity of B, which is equals to 25 meter per second. In case C, let the velocity of monkey with respect to ground be velocity of m, v of m. Relative velocity of monkey with respect to A, v of ma is equals to v of m minus v of A, which is equals to minus 18 km per hour is equals to minus 5 meter per second, and therefore velocity of m, velocity of monkey, velocity of m, v of m is equals to 15 minus 5, which is equals to 10 meter per second. So this was our answer. Here we end our chapter 3. Now we will look to a quick summary. So let's see that. First, an object is said to be in motion if its position changes with time. The position of object can be specified with respect to conveniently chosen origin. For motion in a straight line, position to the right of origin is taken as positive and left is taken as negative. Second, path length is defined as total length of path traversed by an object. Third, displacement is the change in position, which is delta x is equals to x2 minus x1. x2 is our final position and x1 is our initial. Path length is greater or equal to the magnitude of displacement between the same points. Fourth, an object is said to be in uniform motion in a straight line if its displacement is equal in equal intervals of time. Otherwise, the motion is said to be non-uniform motion. Fifth, average velocity is the displacement divided by the time interval in which displacement occurs. Means average velocity v is equals to delta x by delta t, means displacement divided by time interval. On an xt graph, the average velocity over a time interval is the slope of line connecting the initial and final positions corresponding to that interval. Sixth, average speed is the ratio of total path traversed and total path length traversed and the corresponding time interval. The average speed of an object is greater or equal to the magnitude of average velocity over a given time interval. Seventh, instantaneous velocity or simply velocity is defined as limit of average velocity as the time interval delta t becomes infinitesimally small. Formula is v is equals to limit of t tending to 0. V is equals to limit of t tending to 0 delta x by delta t, which is dx by dt. The velocity at a particular instant is equal to the slope of tangent drawn on positive time graph at that instant. Eighth, average acceleration is the change in velocity divided by the time interval during which the change occurs. Means average acceleration A is equals to delta V, means change in velocity divided by delta t, which is our time interval. 9. Instantaneous acceleration is defined as limit of average acceleration as the time interval dt goes to 0. A is equals to limit of t tending to 0. A is equals to means instantaneous acceleration. A is equals to limit of t tending to 0 delta v divided by delta t, which is equals to dv by dt. The acceleration of an object at a particular time is the slope of velocity time graph, vt graph, velocity time graph at that instant of time. For uniform motion, acceleration is 0 and the xt graph is a straight line inclined to the time axis and vt graph is a straight line parallel to the time axis. For motion with uniform acceleration, xt graph is a parabola while the vt graph is a straight line that is inclined to the time axis. 10th, the area under the velocity time curve between times t1 and t2 is equal to the displacement of the object during that time during that interval of time. 11th, for objects in uniformly accelerated rectilinear motion, the five quantities displacement x, time taken t, initial velocity v0, final velocity v, and acceleration a are related by a set of simple equations called kinematic equation of motion, which are v, velocity v is equals to initial velocity v0 plus a acceleration multiplied by t time taken. X displacement x is equals to v0 initial velocity multiplied by time taken t plus 1 by 2 acceleration a multiplied by time taken t square. Velocity, final velocity v square is equals to initial velocity v0 square plus 2 multiplied by acceleration a multiplied by displacement x. If the position of object at the time t is equals to 0, means if position of object at time t is equals to 0 is 0, if the particle starts at x is equals to x0, x in above equation is replaced by x minus x0. So here we have ended our chapter 3. I have also given you a quick summary of chapter 3. So that is it for chapter 3. Next chapter, which is chapter 4, we will start it from next session. Thank you.